text us. Please feel free to call, text us at 313-437-1062 or email sbpa_blockclub@yahoo.com to sign up for updated information that San Bernardo Park Association receives for community-wide events, programs, and services. And going to go on here to the next one. So far, we got 12 people. So welcome again. I'm just going to say it again. Welcome everyone who's joining us. And my name is Bridget Bowman, and I'm the president of San Bernardo Park Association. Now, proceeding with our announcements, San Bernardo Association is surrounded by several businesses, churches, and organizations that need resident support. Please visit the churches, organizations, and businesses that patronize the businesses in our community. Now, if by chance you like, you can also scan the QR code that's shown in this box here to go directly to the directory of all the businesses, churches, and organizations that support our neighborhood. Go on to the next one, please. Okay, we have a very busy evening tonight. We're going to be showing a video of some of the businesses and churches and organizations in the neighborhood. Also, we got a couple of guest speakers here today. We're going to have Bruce Simpson, who's the Detroit ombudsman. We're going to have Mr. Carl Stone, who is the music director for the Detroit Jazz Factory and also the Renegades. And he's going to talk about how music affects your life. And then we're also going to have a guest speaker, Dr. Portra Lockett, who is the DMC Director of Special Care and Community Affairs. And she works for DMC. So it's a nice meeting going on today. I hope you enjoyed. And let's go ahead to the next one. Just remaining announcements. We want to announce that San Bernardo Park Association does accept Cash App and checks and money orders to pay your membership dues. As you can see, there's a QR code. If you're on the Zoom meeting, you can see you can pay by Cash App by scanning the QR code, or you can send your payment to $SBPA contribution dues and include your street address and phone number in the comment section, or you could pay by Zelle. If by chance you would like to know how you can pay your dues, or if you want to make a donation, just give us a call, like I said, 313-437-1062, and we'll go over how you can do that. Go on to the next one, please. Also, I would like to announce that you can reach our Officer Womack at San Bernardo Park Association Neighborhood Police Officer. You can call him or text him at 313-618-1071 about any non-emergency or reoccurring quality of life issues. You can also call the NPO office directly at 313-596-1221 24/7 to let them know about any things that you are concerning you about quality of life. So let's move on to the next one. Oh, I'll keep you on this one. I'm sorry. I also want to remind everyone that the Methodist Center, or Young Men Incorporated, who works out the Methodist Centers, has a free food box giveaway every Friday between 12 and 2 p.m. from now until December 24th. The Methodist Center is located at 19300 Greenfield in Detroit, Michigan. Zip code 48235. You do not have to register. You just come on and get a box as long as supplies are there. And they do that every Friday from 12 to 2 p.m. Let's go on to my next slide, please. Also want to remind everyone that San Bernardo Park Association will be partnering with Young Men in Motion Incorporated to celebrate Arise Detroit on August the 3rd from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Methodist Center, which is, again, located at 19300 Greenfield in Detroit, Michigan. It's supposed to be 48235. That's a typo, but it's 48235. What the Young Men Incorporated, Young Men in Motion Incorporated will be doing, they'll be giving away free clothing for babies and adults. They'll have food boxes. They'll be having resource information. So please stop by and just give us a shout out. And let us, if you need anything or you know anybody needs anything, share the information that we will be doing something at the Methodist Center on the first Saturday in August. Okay. Now, what I want to do is we want to talk about the businesses and churches and organizations in the neighborhood. What we have declared is July is Business Appreciation Month. And we want to let you know about some of the businesses, churches, and organizations who support our neighborhood. So, are you ready, Kim, to do the video?
Welcome to San Bernardo Park Association neighborhood. Our boundaries are streets from the east side of Greenfield Road to Strathmore Street. That's between West 7 Mile Road and Northwest James Cousin Freeway. July is San Bernardo's Park Association Business Appreciation Month. Please enjoy the following personal shout outs from some of our businesses, churches, and organizations that support our neighborhood. Also visit and patronize the businesses, churches, and organizations all year long to show why San Bernardo Park Association neighbors love where we live, work, worship, and shop.
You're looking confused. Can you hear it?
I can hear it and we can see it for a minute, but now it's just a
Okay,
place.
no, I stopped it. Yeah, I stopped
Okay,
it.
go ahead.
Okay.
From Boost Mobile at 14814 West 7 Mile Road. I'm here 7 days a week. We have a wide array of cell phones, speakers, Bluetooth, internet boxes, all cell phones, iPhones, Androids, whatever you need. Feel free to come see me. Chris from Boost Mobile. Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Principal Dave Seifker, Detroit Christian Schools of Excellence, located at 19370 Greenfield. Come check us out if you'd like to have information. This is a good enrollment time for all K through 12.
Hi, I'm Tika, the owner of the Detroit Coffee Lodge, and I would like to say thank you to the San Bernardo Park Association for all of their support. Them, as well as the community, have been very supportive, and it means so much to us. I look forward to seeing and meeting all of you. Thanks.
Hello, greetings. I'm Howard Williams from House of Pie Health Food Store. We're located at 15224 West 7 Mile, 1 block east of Greenfield. We specialize in alkaline water. Healthy alternatives. Come down and help support the community.
Hi everyone, my name is Jessica. I am optician and owner of McLean Eyewear. We sell prescription eyeglasses and contact lenses. We are located at 19469 James Cousins Freeway. We would love to see you for your eye care needs. If you mention San Bernardo Park, you get 20% off for your first visit.
Hi, I am Minnie Davis from Young Men in Motion at the Methodist Community Center. We've been in the community over 30 years, and hey, come check us out at 19300 Greenfield, Detroit, Michigan 48235. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I'm Pastor Rita Green and I am with the Calvary Apostolic Church located at 20071 James Cousin Freeway. That's in Detroit, Michigan, zip code 48235. I'd just like to reach out and invite everyone in the neighborhood listening audience to come visit us one Sunday at 12 noon right here, and I will be happy to greet you and give you a great big hug in Jesus' name.
Hello, my name is Dr. Michael Coleman. We've been pastoring here at Greenfield Avenue Church of God for over 31 years, and we would love to have you come and visit us. We meet on Sunday mornings at 11 o'clock, and you'll be perfectly welcome. And we want you to come and enjoy with us the Word of God.
My name is Dennis Beal. I'm the pastor here at Overcomers Evangel Baptist Church, where our senior pastor is the Reverend C. Kenneth Dexter. We're located here in Detroit at 20045 James Cousins Highway. We invite you to worship with us. Our worship services are held every Sunday morning, beginning with 9:30 Sunday school and worship service at 11 a.m. Please come and join us.
Hello, I'm Lester Mangum, pastor of People's United Methodist Church. We're located here on Greenfield and Vassar, 19370. We worship on Sunday at 11 a.m. At present, we're in Bible study that starts at 6:30 on Wednesday evening. Please come. You'll find a great reception. You'll find love and support. You'll find no judgment or criticism. You'll find an open heart and an open mind. So please come and just consider sitting down and just getting real with us about what we're going through and what we need to get through it.
Hi, I'm Linda Brown. I'm the pastor of Universal Transformation Ministries Church. We're located at 19901 James Cousins at the corner of James Cousins and Pembroke. We have worship service each Sunday morning at 8:30 a.m. for Sunday school and 9:30 a.m. for worship service. We invite all of you to join us at any given time for all of our services. We've been in the neighborhood for 26 years, and we look forward to seeing you at one of our services.
Okay, thank you, Kim. By the way, Kim Tandy is a District 2 manager, and District 2 office does host our meetings. Like before, the Business Appreciation Month runs between July 1st and July 31st. We have several businesses and churches and organizations, like I mentioned, throughout our neighborhood that do support the neighborhood. So please visit the businesses along 7 Mile, along Greenfield, and along James Cousin to patronize them or visit them and just show them that we do love where we live, worship, and shop. Okay, so now we're going to go into our meeting itself. Like I mentioned before, we got several guest speakers. So the first one is Mr. Bruce Simpson. He is the I think I got the wrong information. He is the Detroit City Osman, for the city of Detroit. So with that in mind, I'm going to have Mr. Simpson go ahead and share information about what's going on in the city of Detroit. Bruce, are you there?
Okay. Hi, this is Linda Wesley from the Office of the Ombudsman. Mr. Simpson's computer just restarted. He will be joining you in just a couple of seconds. But until he comes on, he says it is updating currently right now. But until he comes on, if I could just share a little bit of information with the residents. We attended a meeting, and it was a few weeks ago, and the guest speaker was Mr. Youngblood, who is the actual he's the register of deed. And what he talked about that people are really, they're stealing people's property. And so Mr. Youngblood came up with a solution to try to help our residents identify any potential fraud. It's called Fraud Guard, and it's a free service. It is provided by Bernard J. Youngblood. He is the Wayne County Register of Deeds, and it's a simple way to monitor your land records and warn you of potential property fraud. We found, he did mention that people are doing like quick claim deeds, and a lot of people are not finding out that their properties are not in their names until the very last minute or until something happens. And so he suggested it might be good to actually check to make sure that your name is actually on the deed. And also you can go to the website. You can go to the website and actually sign up to be on the fraud guard under the more, it says mortgage and deed fraud. If you click on the down arrow, then you will be able to click on the fraud guard, and then you'll be able to read the information, and all you have to do is type out your name and your email address. And what they will do is anytime your name populates, anything like that, it's just a simple way to monitor your land records and warn you of any potential fraud that is actually happening with your property. They will send you an email to let you know that there's some type of potential fraud, and then it gives you the steps and what you can take after that point. So we thought that that would be very important. We did send out the notification just today. It is also in our packet. So if you are out at any community events and you receive a packet from Mr. Simpson, it is actually in that packet as well. And I think Mr. Simpson may be back on as we speak, Miss Bridget. Let me just double check and make sure that he is back on. Bear with me just
I
one
don't see
second.
him. I don't see him, Linda,
You
unless
don't
he
see
came in
him?
on a phone.
Okay. Let me see if he's it
Oh,
says,
excuse me.
okay. You don't see him yet? Okay. I will just, until he comes on, what I will do, I'll just kind of go over. We are an independent oversight agency over all City of Detroit departments. This position came about in 1974. So that means that it is appointed by Detroit City Council, and it is a 10-year position. And we have the ability to do our own investigations when our residents have concerns or matters that they feel that have not been addressed by the city department. Just one second. Hold on. Just one second.
Well, if you like, Linda, we can go ahead and have him come on after we go through the rest of the guest speakers, if you like. Would that be okay?
Yeah, that might be what you need to do. Now, yeah, and just to finish up what I was saying is that, and we apologize that we're having these difficulties. Uh, just to finish up what I'm saying is that we do take complaints from our residents, whether they have a complaint with the water department. It could be regarding their trees or sidewalks or their trash or what have you. We do want to be the last person that you do contact, though. We do want you to try to go through your Department of Neighborhoods, seek your Improved Detroit app. If everything else fails and you're not getting the results, then we'd like for you to contact the Office of the Ombudsman, where we can actually do an in-depth investigation to find out what is going on so that we can try to get some type of resolution for you. And so I'll leave it right there, Miss Bridget. Hopefully, Mr. Simpson will be able to join us shortly, and he'll be able to take it from there.
Okay, great. So right now we're going to go ahead and move up a little bit. First person we're going to have as a guest speaker is Mr. Carl Stone. Are you here, Carl?
Yeah, I'm still here. Can you hear me?
Great. Yes. Before you go, let me just remind everyone that what happens is after this meeting, we do send out what we call a "What You Missed" email blast, which summarizes this meeting to the people on our mailing list, which is about 500 plus people. So what happened is that once this meeting is over and stuff, those who could not attend will be able to hear what you got to say. So with that in mind, welcome, Mr. Stone. Just to let the audience know that Mr. Stone is not a stranger to the San Bernardo community because he has been the music director and helped us with our jazz concert last year and the year before. So that wouldn't mind, Mr. Stone, please let us know what you have to say about how music affects you.
Okay, glad to be here. Cassandra Petway is one who invited me. Do you have my slideshow that you can run my
No, I
PowerPoint?
didn't. We did not get that on, but I will attach it into the What You Missed email blast.
Okay, well
Okay, we did not get in time.
yeah, that makes a lot of difference. Okay, let me start off with just asking you, and I'm not trying to be funny, but how many of you, without looking in the mirror, can see your own nose? Think about that. Can you see your own nose? All right. All right. If you're looking, it turns out that you can actually see your own nose, but your brain chooses to ignore it. Okay. If you close one eye at a time and look down, then you'll be able to see your own nose. But the point we're trying to make is that your nose is there, but your brain ignores it. The same kind of thing is happening to us in music. We hear ambient music all the time, but because it's ambient music and we hear it so often, our brain tends to ignore it. All right. For example, can you still hear music in the elevator? Have you thought about that? Or how about when you go to the supermarket, CVS or Rite Aid? Maybe the perfume counter at Macy's. Have you been to Red Lobster or Whitney lately? Is there music there? You have to think about that, don't you? All right. Chances are there was music all over the place, but because we hear music so much, our brains just ignore it. Nonetheless, retailers try to overcome that obstacle by playing what we call subliminal music that will hopefully put you in a buying mode. For years, Hollywood knows how to induce certain feelings in you by playing certain kinds of music. Remember the suspense that was built up with the movie Jaws? Or how about the heroic sounds of the music in movies Superman or the Raiders of the Ark? Animals, on the other hand, don't hear music all the time. So when they do hear it, they react to it. There are cases where cows and elephants and other animals stop in their tracks while being serenaded by violins or pianos or somebody playing something. And there's also that cockatoo bird that's been dancing to the heavy beat of rock music for 10 years and has even developed 14 different dance moves. Okay? With all of that, and science is starting to look at all of that, and they've become interested in that. So they're wondering what does music, what kind of influence does music have on you? I'm sure most of you are into some kind of music one way or another. Some of you like R&B, some of you like soul or maybe gospel. Others might prefer oldies and goodies or jazz, while yet others like Mozart, Bach, or even Beethoven. Regardless of the kind of music you prefer, listening to music or knowing how to make music has a greater impact on you than you probably ever imagined. All right, here are some of the findings. I see now I'm not going to be able to go through all of them, but music sparks creativity. Sometimes you need a little more bit of music to get you into a creative groove again. Music can help you with your speech. Knowing the lyrics of your favorite song can be more than just a fun pastime. Singing lyrics may help those recovering from strokes or brain injuries that damage their speech abilities. By singing lyrics, people with speech disability can learn to first sing their thoughts, then gradually move on to speaking them. I knew somebody who had a very, very severe stroke, and he lost not only his ability to move and walk, but his ability to speak too. But he never stopped being able to sing. And what he was able to do is sing what he was on his mind, and that's how he had to communicate. Music helps us athletes perform better. If you've seen people with headphones on running, they're doing that to the beat, and it just with that beat, it just for some reason or another it helps the kinetic system in their body keep moving. Music can improve memories. Doctors and therapists are known to use memory to help patients remember and access their lost memories. This is especially helpful in patients with Alzheimer's and dementia. But when growing up, the music we listened to had more of an impact on us than the music we listen to today. Listening to certain songs can trigger memories. How many of you out there, for example, hear an old tune from back in the day and it makes you think about an old girlfriend or an old boyfriend or a special event in your life? Music can do that. Music can boost happiness. If you feel down, a daily dose of music might just be what the doctor ordered. One study found that listening to music releases dopamine. That's that feel-good chemical in your brain. And while another study revealed that music with an upbeat tune can increase energy and positive emotion. Music can stimulate the brain. It's not a secret that keeping your brain active and stimulate is essential to healthy aging. Both listening and performing music can stimulate new connections in the brain and improve cognitive function. The list goes on. If you play music, I'm skipping ahead because the time is going pretty fast. If you play music, it's even better for you because there are lots of interest and a lot of studies done on both children and adults who played in music or instrument or participated in music activities like bands and choirs. To use the big word, music training or learning to play an instrument promotes neuroplasticity. In other words, music promotes the brain's ability to be flexible and change throughout life. Because music involves using the whole brain, not just a portion of the brain, actually becomes stronger and is able to function at a higher level. It's like your brain is lifting weights. Music training involves cognitive abilities across a lifespan. Because playing a musical instrument uses many areas of the brain, it strengthens the wiring system of the brain. As a result, musicians may perform higher or better in cognitive tasks than non-musicians. But for kids, it's super important. If you go on, kids who belong to school bands and orchestras and choirs have a sense of belonging and connection. Everyone longs for connections with others and wants to belong to something greater than themselves. For students, especially the middle schooler, making those vital connections can be challenging. Playing in a school band or orchestra is a good way to overcome that hump. The most important thing, though, is as those kids grow and they go through high school and learn to play and keep playing, when they graduate from high school, they can go on to an HBCU. And very often, if they play in the band, they will get a scholarship. And sometimes that's a full ride scholarship. And that's an important fact. If you go through my video or my slideshow, there's some other factors in there that we won't be able to bring out now, but I'm open for questions if that's where you are at this point.
Well, I always remind folks that to ask questions, you can raise your hand for Zoom meetings, or you can *6 to unmute yourself. But while we're waiting to see if there's any questions, let me just ask you one quick question first of all. Music. Can you learn how to play instruments at any age? I mean, if you like 60s or 70s, can you learn? Because normally people start learning how to play music when they're young.
That's an excellent question. And the fact is, we know now, and that's what I said, we're doing a lot of research and we're looking at that there is no bad time to start learning music. My suggestion is if you're 50, 60, 70, 80 years old even, to find like a piano someplace and just go up to the piano, even if you don't know anything about the piano, and just start plunking on the keys. And eventually you'll be able to pick out a song just by playing with the keys. Another thing that you can do if you don't want to get real serious about an instrument and buy an instrument or take serious lessons, buy a little old cheap $5, $6, what we call a recorder. It's a little toy flute. And that's very easy to play. And when you start making these melodies by learning how to play that, you'll be rewarded by some of the things we're talking about in terms of helping your brain stay flexible and growing. It's a very good question.
Okay, I see that Cassandra Petway has her hand raised. Do you have a question, Cassandra?
Yes, Carl, thank you for coming. And I like
You're welcome.
to share with people, what advice would you give an adult on how to start to learn to play an instrument, where to go, how to get an instrument, and how to start the very first functions of learning?
Okay, there was a time when we could learn to play instruments in the school system, but many school systems, because of financial reasons, had dropped their music programs. If they have a program in the school, by all means, join it. It doesn't have to be an instrumental program. It could be a choir. That you get the same benefits from singing the choir. Beyond that, there are places in Detroit that teach music. You can find those by looking online, looking for places that, like I just said, teach music. Michigan State University has a program on the corner of Erskine and Woodward in Detroit that teaches music. In fact, that's where I met Cassandra, and that's where I used to teach there. Many music stores, again, you can look that up on the internet. Just look for music stores or music lessons. They will have people who will teach you how to play music, and they will rent you. You don't have to buy the horn. You can rent an instrument to play. There's, again, a lot of different avenues that allow you to get in and start playing music. And once again, there is no age limit to when to start or when to stop, I should say, because you can just keep playing. I don't mind telling people I'm 82 years old and I'm still playing as much as I can play, and it keeps me going all the time.
Okay, we just had a text message from somebody in the audience. They just want to remind you, if you want to comment on this too, just to earn just an extra tip, get an instrument from Facebook Marketplace and go to a church with a band or get a YouTube free option. So that's, do you also recommend that as well?
That's very good advice. Yes, there is no limit to the different ways you can try to play it. And Facebook and stuff like that is something relatively new for somebody in my age bracket. That might be something that they're not aware of. But that's a very good response, and I appreciate that giving us that information.
Okay, great. Is there any other questions for Director Stone? Okay, we have Crystal Bailey, and we just take this will be the last question because we have to go out of sequence a little bit. So, Crystal, this
Hi, Miss.
candidate Crystal.
How you doing? Yes, I'm Crystal Bailey. How you doing, Mr. Stone? I'm glad that you're
Fine.
here. Music is a passion of mine as well. I think that we should have music back in our schools and help with mentally developing them as well. My daughter plays the viola, and to add to where you can get instruments and get other lessons, I know Guitar Center has where you can have different lessons there as well.
Absolutely. Very good. Very good. Let me say one more thing about kids playing in music.
Mhm.
There's been I not only am I a music person, I was also a high school principal for a long time. And it's been my experience that kids involved in music are less likely to get into trouble and be a problem.
Yeah.
They are more than likely to be successful in later in life because of the things they learn through music, discipline and other things like that. So if you have any influence on kids at all, please encourage them to get involved in some kind of music, please.
Okay. Well, Director Stone, we appreciate you coming and sharing your information about how music can help you. There's some good advice in there, and I want to remind everyone again that we might have him come back and do another jazz concert. So, like I said, you've heard him direct people. He's been in the business for a long time. So, like I said, Mr. Stone, we really appreciate you for coming to this
You're
meeting.
welcome.
And we
Thank you.
will
You're
be
welcome.
sharing your PowerPoint presentation when we do our follow-up email blast, which is called What You Missed,
Okay.
so people can see it directly. Okay?
Okay. Very good. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Now, as I mentioned before, we're doing things a little bit out of sequence. A representative from Ombudsman, Bruce Simpson, Ombudsman, who's the Ombudsman of Detroit, came on, but now we're going to let him pick up where she left up. So, Mr. Bruce.
Sorry about the technical difficulty. It's a good old city equipment. Computer decided they wanted to restart when they wanted to restart. For the sake of time, I'll try not to be repetitive and go over what Linda has already shared with you all. Again, very briefly, we are independent oversight agency, meaning we're independent from both executive and legislative branches. We are an advocate, right? If you did not know, we are to be a liaison between city government and its residents. What is also important is that we don't look to be your first point of contact. You have the departments themselves, you have district managers, you have council members, you have a number of different people that can assist you. But in the event that you find yourself frustrated, and you find yourself without resolution, and you believe the city has been negligent in some way, shape, or form, call your ombudsman. And I want to be clear, that does not mean that if you call us, we won't help you. We will ask you, did you speak to the corresponding department? That's important. You know, if you have a water department issue, we don't want you to leapfrog them and never having talked to them, even though you have an issue concerning their department and its performance. But with that being said, we understand city government can be difficult to navigate, especially post-pandemic. Some of the people that were at those desks and those phone numbers are not necessarily there. We can help you navigate that as well. Now, in addition to receiving complaints and complaint resolution, we also put a focus on policy. And I'll give a couple brief examples for the sake of time. You know, when we receive these complaints, we don't just take them for the sake of taking them. We try to look at trends in the data. We try to look at issues that are pervasive and systemic. What really needs to be addressed by way of policy and or procedure or a change to the law. Recently, we've become very active with our state legislature. And so we've had a couple ombudsman recommendations that have gone to Lansing. The first of which is for our disabled veterans. We were able to change the property tax exemption law as it relates to our disabled vets. So disabled vets have been exempt from property taxes for a while. However, we were forcing them to come down every year and file, which we thought did not make sense. The way I like to explain it is that the disabled vet is not going to stop being disabled, and they're not going to stop being a veteran. Those are two constants. So why are we inconveniencing them? Parking tickets in the city of Detroit are expensive. Gas is expensive. The time it takes for you to come down is expensive, right? And it's really an inconvenience. So we were able to have the law change so that now that disabled veteran does not have to file annually for their exemption. They can file once and be done with it. That change was signed into law in October of 23 last year. In addition to that, now the widow of that disabled veteran can take that exemption with them if they move. Prior to the change in the law that we had, if you left the home in which you had the exemption at, you would lose the exemption. And lastly, and equally as important, disabled veterans had a window of time that they had to file. The city's tax rolls are adjusted 3 times a year in March, July, and December. And if you didn't hit that March border review to have that adjustment made for your exemption, you would end up with the tax bill, even though you were supposed to be exempt. Now, that disabled veteran can file for their exemption from January 1st through December 31st, so the entirety of the year, and receive that exemption. It doesn't matter at what point you file it. You don't have to meet a quote unquote window. You have the entirety of the calendar year to file for that exemption. On June 26th, we had our property transfer affidavit law, or recommendation, I should say, which will become law, approved by the House. So it's going through the House and the Senate, and it's currently on the governor's desk. Why is that important to you? Our property transfer affidavit recommendation, I'm sorry, that's That's my dog. Someone must be walking by. Our property transfer affidavit recommendation closes a loophole that's often utilized by investors and speculators where they don't pay their fair share. So oftentimes when you look at the house in the community that's blighted, that hasn't been taken care of, that person more than likely hasn't been taking care of their tax bill. And by them not paying their fair share, they're cheating the city of Detroit out of money. Them cheating the city of Detroit out of money in turn provides less money for us to do what we need to do by way of city services. So now this ombudsman recommendation, which will become law for all 10 million residents, now closes that loophole and now makes sure that these investors and speculators who purchase property in our communities pay their fair share. So those are just a couple of examples of ombudsman recommendations that have or will soon to be come law, state law, which I think is pretty important. It shows the reach and the strength of the office. Something also that I did not mention, and I don't know if Linda got a chance to mention it, when we reach out and look for the cooperation of a department, we do so in a respectful way. But there are times in which we have to be firm. And ultimately, when people are being held to account for any form of negligence or something that they've done wrong, they may or may not be cooperative, or they may or may not be as forthcoming as you would like them to be. We also possess subpoena power, so we can compel that cooperation. Now, typically, I've not had to use said subpoena power. We've come close, and I'm dealing with a case now where we may end up having to exercise it. But if a resident or anyone files a complaint, and it is a legitimate complaint, and it warrants a response from the corresponding department, we can compel cooperation. We're also afforded independent legal counsel, which is important for us to do our jobs. By us being independent, and when I say independent, I mean truly independent, our interests and the interests of the city of Detroit may not align at all times. If I'm advocating for you and the city is not in agreement with what we are finding, or what our findings are, how our investigation is going, there's going to be a conflict. And so just know that we have both the legal backing, financial backing to do what we need to do and give the operation teeth. Very briefly, as I wrap up, we have a number of things that we are working on. One of the things I want to mention is that we have a lot of abandoned and open to trespass properties. Thank you for that. I'll go to this one instead of that. We will be out at Valet Park on July 31st. We're working outside. Come join us. You can see us outside taking complaints, listening to your concerns. Also, something that we need the community to do. We have a lot of abandoned and open to trespass properties, right? And we've done a ton of demolition under this administration, a ton over the last decade, right? But there are homes that can be saved. And so we're starting to move away from the plywood, moving to the plastic, which is harder to penetrate. When we put that plywood up, they come, they kick it down, and they're right back in there. Now we're taking more steps to save these homes, but we need to know where they are. City of Detroit is 139 square miles. It is huge. We have a good idea, but we need the input from our residents to say, I have a open to trespass structure at this location. We would like you to report those open to trespass structures to the demolition and construction department at 313-224-4737. Once again, that's 313-224-4737. Linda, if you could put that in the chat. And we'll certainly give you that information as you send out your what you missed notification to the rest of your participants. In addition to that, we have satellite office hours where we are going across the city, district, district to district. You can see all the times and dates and where we will be at. Again, it is difficult sometimes to come downtown. And so we literally set up shop in recreation centers, coffee shops, whomever will have us, so that you don't have to leave your neighborhood really to file that complaint if you want to see somebody face to face. We believe in being really, really accessible. Every third Thursday of the month, we have virtual office hours. You can always call in at 313-224-6000, and you can always email us at ombudsman@detroitmi.gov. And that's, I think that's it. I didn't go over my current recommendations for the sake of time, but that information will be, and if you don't already have it, it will be sent to you so that you can send that out as well. President Baldwin, you're muted.
Sorry about that. I was just so engaged in your conversation, Mr. Simpson. Okay, anyhow, I just want to remind that ask to see if Linda can send it to me as soon as possible, because I would like to get the What You Miss email blast out this weekend or by Monday
Yeah.
morning at the latest. So I was going to say, anybody has any questions that they would like to ask the ombudsman? Just star 6 to unmute yourself or raise your hand.
Linda, there's a typo on a number for it should be 224-4737 for the open trespass structures.
Okay, so with that, did anyone have a question? Well, I have one general question that people ask all the time. I'm sure you hear all the time.
Yeah.
How long between the time you have a problem with a department or agency of Detroit should you file a complaint? And how long does it take that to resolve?
So that's there are several, it's a mixed answer because the conditions surrounding the complaint may be different. So let's say you have an issue with the water department. You call the water department, you get left on hold for 30 minutes. I'm not going to tell you to call the water department again. At that point, you call us because to me, they failed to do, and I'm just using them as an example. We're not beating up on the water department, just as an example. To me, at that point, they haven't done their job. That's a whole other complaint, right? You started off with the issue about a backup in your basement. Now you got a second complaint because you weren't assisted in a timely fashion. So if you initially attempt to make contact and either the response you received hasn't been sufficient or you are not provided a response at all, however long that takes, it could be that 30-minute hold time, or it could be that you dealt with the water department for 2 weeks and they sent you a response that you don't agree with. We'll follow up on that. So there's that. Now, as far as the resolution is concerned, some matters are quicker than others. The street light on your street it's been out for 3 months and you've been trying to have it addressed for the last 2 months. That's going to be resolved quicker than the property that needs to be demolished. That's a process. That's a long process. So it really depends on the type of complaint that you have to file. What I tell my people, our assistant ombudsman, is that we want to resolve every complaint without necessarily having to send it out. So if it's something that we can physically resolve by way of picking up that phone or going out to do a site visit, we actually go out and do site visits to lay eyes on certain complaints, or sending that email. Let's resolve it that way as opposed to pushing paper. Because in government, when you push paper, sometimes, it's not the quickest turnaround. So we try to resolve those complaints as they come in, especially if it's the low-hanging fruit. You know what I mean?
Okay, well, thank you very much for that answer to that question. Does anybody else have anything they would like to know right quick? Okay.
Yes.
Go ahead.
I would like to know approximately how many complaints do you get a year, and also what department in our city of Detroit gets the most complaints?
BC, to answer the latter question first, for us, BC gets the most complaints. It's been a combination of and I'm sorry, BC is an acronym for Buildings and Safety, Engineering and Environmental Department. BC along with the land bank, they usually take up a huge chunk of our pie. And this is a good opportunity for me to point you to our annual report every year, so you don't have to guess what we've been up to, how many complaints we responded to officially. We produce an annual report. That annual report is on DetroitMI.gov under ombudsman, and it varies. Sometimes it's around 4,000. Sometimes it's higher, anywhere from 4 to 5,000 complaints. Sometimes it's on the lower end, 3,800 or something like that. But those are official complaints that we process, sent out, and got a response to. It's not in any way or shape or form indicative of all the calls we took or issues that were put before us, but that's what we document. But you can, again, you can look it up online. You can see it for yourself. We have a pie chart breakdown. We have a breakdown by district. We have a breakdown by zip code. You can see, again, your initial question or your last question, which departments generate the most complaints. You can see in order. That pie chart gives you a good breakdown by percentage. So it's that report is filled with good data, in my opinion.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Mr. Simpson. We will try to get you back again. Another type of thing we might do. So we'll talk to you, reach out to you if we can find another way for you to reach out to people in our neighborhood. Thank you
Absolutely.
so much for coming. Now we have another speaker that we have waiting on. Dr. Lockett, are you here?
Yes, I am. How are you?
Okay, welcome. This is your first time speaking, and I just want to let you get a chance to let us know about how you can deal with grief.
Okay. Are my slides available or no?
Yes, you got yours in
Okay.
time.
Okay.
Kim?
Wonderful.
Okay, there you go.
Okay. Well, first of all, let me just say thank you so much for allowing me just to come in and participate in this much needed discussion about so many different types of situations that we deal with in the city. And one of the things that I think we're all dealing with is at some point in our lives, we have dealt with grief. A lot of times people don't even know what grief is. So if you could go to the next slide, we're going to go through a couple of things that will help us to understand. We're going to define grief. We're going to understand reasons grief is misunderstood. We're going to also discuss the layers of unresolved grief and how it impacts our daily lives. And we're going to have an opportunity to discuss the sources of support for grief and then signs that you need support and identify ways to relieve some of the grief that we may carry. So if you go to the next slide. Grief is defined as the normal and natural reaction to any type of change that deals with any loss of any kind. And I'm going to stop there for a minute because a lot of times people just assume that grief can only happen in the event that we lose someone that we love. And so I'm going to just ask you just to pinpoint something right there. And here are some ways that you can deal with grief. Sometimes people deal with grief and they have stressful situations. They are experiencing burnout on their jobs. Some veterans may have returned, or someone may be experiencing post-traumatic stress syndrome. And then sometimes we deal with complicated grief because there have been some episodes in our life previously, maybe from our childhood, that has never been addressed. So now we're dealing with complicated grief on top of grief. Then we are dealing with those individuals who may be experiencing depression. But again, grief is the response to a change or end of any familiar pattern or behavior that has taken place. If we think about that for a minute, let's think about what we all experienced when we were dealing over the last 3 or 4 years with COVID. COVID came in and it basically dismantled our lifestyles, our normal way of living. Right. And then we also experienced some people who were showing some different types of behavior. But when COVID came in, when COVID surfaced, it exposed us so many different things that we were dealing with in our lives on a regular basis. So let's chat a little bit about that. Next slide, please. So what causes grief? We go through life picking up rocks. For example, with women, I see the majority of the people who are on this line are women, and women specifically tend to want to handle everybody else's business and carry everybody else's loads and stresses. So that could cause one to grief as well. A lot of times we have grief that starts at childhood. So imagine this, a child being asked to sit still in school all day, but prior to coming to school, they saw their mother being beaten by either their father or a live-in boyfriend or someone else in the family, or an abusive situation. Some children even come to school after experiencing seeing someone murdered, but they're expected to come to school and sit and be quiet and be still. Years ago, when we didn't have therapists or grief recovery method specialists or those who were in position to be able to counsel, those children had to hold it in, or we were told them, if you go to church, the preacher's going to preach a sermon, we're going to pray about it, and we're going to be able to deal with it and move forward. That is not the case. We're not taught how to be able to deal with it. Little boys were told, just put on your big boy's pants, suck it up, don't cry, keep moving. But as we move forward in life and these situations have not been addressed, then that's when grief expands. Next slide, please. Here are some other additional situations where we can look for grief. For grief, when we have been in an abusive situation, someone experiences death, a divorce. You can go through a graduation. For example, back in COVID, those who were expecting living their lives for that day when they can walk across the stage, throw up their caps, throw across their tassels, express themselves via parties and verbal expressions. We couldn't do that. All that changed. Someone may experience job loss or businesses being able to shut down, financial loss, being diagnosed with a chronic illness. You mentioned flooding in some basements. People were grieving during that because I don't have the right resources to get what I need care for. Individuals who are incarcerated, and then you have a loss in your family and you can't get out of jail in order to come and celebrate your mother or your father's loss. Or foster care situation where it's a turmoil situation where the foster care parents were abusing their children, violence, and the list goes on. You can see there's multiple ways in which someone can experience grief. Next slide, please. So why is grief so misunderstood? A lot of times when we lose someone specifically, we're taught, don't feel bad. You can replace the loss. You're young. You can have another child. You don't have to grieve alone, but we often feel that we're grieving alone because based on our situation, we often feel that there's no one else going through our same grief journey as we are. We're told to be strong. When my father passed away, I heard so many people say to me, be strong for your mother. Be strong for your mother. And my question is, why do I have to be strong? Why can't I just express my grief the way I need to? Why can't I cry? Why can't I scream and yell and do whatever it takes to make me feel better? And so these are just some of the reasons why people are held in this box, and grief is so misunderstood. Or grief has a time period. You have 2 weeks. During COVID, we couldn't celebrate the way we wanted to celebrate. So many people were dying. And so you have 2 weeks, you have 2 weeks, you have 2 weeks. Get over it because we got to move to the next group of people who are grieving. Next slide, please. So why is grief misunderstood again? And here are some things referred to as STIRBs. These are short-term energy relieving behaviors. So a lot of times when people are grieving, they reach out for food. They want to go shopping. They exercise a little bit more. They're on their cell phones all the time, drinking alcohol, using tobacco, using drugs, fantasy lives, using pornography as a way, or going out to gamble, suicide. That's one of the things that people often think about is suicide. I can't do this anymore. I just want to run away. So these are some reasons why we have to get a hold of this whole grief journey. And we see someone, we need to be able to say something and encourage people who are going through grief to be able to receive the help and stick with the support in order to move forward in their grieving journey. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Okay, so here's a book that I often use. I am also a grief recovery method specialist, and I do believe that everybody's journey is a little bit different. And so through the grief recovery method specialist program, it's an 8-week program that can be done as an individual or it can be done in groups. But basically, it carries you through various steps in order to help you to maneuver through your own personal grieving journey. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Okay, so I know we only had 7 minutes, but I just wanted to leave you all with something that you will be able to contact me with if you need some additional information. Again, I am the chaplain, director of spiritual care and community affairs for the DMC. I'm a spiritual advisor, a grief recovery method specialist. You can reach me directly at plockett@thedmc.org, or you can contact me with my foundation, which is the Azel Benet Lockett Foundation, that I started after my son was murdered on the streets of Atlanta. And God said to me, I'm going to get the glory out of this. So I started the Azel Benet Lockett Foundation to be able to help you heal, offer you hope, and hold your heart as you're going through any type of grieving journey. And we have programs throughout the year. As a matter of fact, on September the 7th, we will be celebrating our second year of being in action and helping the Detroit metropolitan area go through their grieving journey. We help people who are grieving from all of the previous things that we talked about a little bit earlier. If you need someone that needs grief counseling or therapy, we help to direct them and give them referrals or help to underwrite the cost. If someone is experiencing the loss of a loved one and they don't necessarily have all of the necessary funding in order to give a proper burial, we also donate a certain amount of funds to help that family, but we make the payments directly to the funeral homes. And there are other services that we provide, but you could also go to azelbenelockettfoundation.org. My information on how to stay in contact with me on Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn and my personal website, drportialockett.com, are listed on this sheet. And so if anybody has any questions, I am available.
Okay, so if you have a question for the doctor, you can raise your hand, or you can *6.
Portia Lockett.
Yes.
She's a chaplain she was at least downtown at Harper.
Okay, Judy,
yes,
do you have a
I still am. Yes. Okay. Hi, Judy.
Can you see me here?
No, actually, I can't see you. I'm on my phone, cell phone in my car.
and I can't get my picture to come on. So hi, Portia. It's nice to see you.
Good to see you and hear you, I should say.
Thank you for
your presentation. Does anybody have a question? Oh, you're more than welcome. It's my pleasure.
Okay, I would like to ask you one question, I guess one last question here. Now, you said you offer grief counseling, but you also said something about helping with funeral arrangements. Do you have to be part of DMC or have insurance, go through DMC to get that assistance?
No. You would go directly to the website for the foundation. This is totally separate. I just wanted to give you as much information that I'm involved with as possible. My job there is director of spiritual care and community affairs, totally separate than the foundation. And so if you reach out to us, there's a form that you can fill out on the foundation website, and you fill that out. We will contact you and talk about, specifically what your needs are. You go through an application process, and then if you meet our criteria for us being able to help you, and then we will make a check directly out to the funeral home. Right now, we're doing donations of $500.
Great.
As long as the money is there.
Okay, thank you very much. Crystal, candidate Crystal Bailey, you have a question?
Yes, I just want to say, Dr. Lockhart, my condolences to you. That has to be a process to get through.
Yeah.
And my condolences. The mental health opponent that's attached to grief. Could you explain how that ties into with the therapy that's given that you offer?
Absolutely. So, we are all spiritual beings having a human experience. I'm sure you hear that all the time. But the other component is, we are mentally challenged sometimes when we're going through grief. You just think about when you lose something that has been a part of your life, whether it's a pet, whether it's a loved one, it challenges us mentally and emotionally. And so sometimes people just can't move through that journey. They find themselves depressed. They find themselves stuck. They go down in a hole and they don't want to come out. They don't want to socialize anymore. They just want to lay in the bed. They start drinking, they're overeating, all these different signs that show that they need some type of a help. And so what we try to do is refer those individuals to therapists or counseling or support groups in order to get them out of that space so they can continue to live their lives in abundance.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Dr. Lockett, we do appreciate you coming. It was very, very interesting and very informative and very impactful I'm sure a lot of people will be reaching out to you as a result of this meeting. And like I said before, we will be sharing your PowerPoint presentation for what you just said in our What You Missed email blast, so folks can look at it individually. So thank you very
Amen.
much for helping us out and sharing this information. Now
My pleasure.
we're gonna move on because we get close to that closing time. Kim Kennedy has a few things she wants to say, and then we'll go on about Council Calloway office and the city, Detroit Public Schools, and I think we got Mr. Wellborn from Wayne County Commissioner Irma Clark Coleman. So Kim, go ahead and let us know what you need to let us know.
Good evening, everyone. I'm not going to be before you long. I know I'm just going to make this one announcement actually today. We have been working with a lot of people on trying to get certain things in their homes, trying to give them grants, trying to give them assistance. And what we are finding is a lot of times, and I know Linda talked about people stealing your property, but a lot of times we live in grandma's house or mom's house, and the house was passed on to us. And we have not changed the deed, we are not changing the paperwork. And so now we go to where we are trying to get some assistance in the house or the property is not in our name. So we have found that this is happening so very much in our city right now that we are looking to help people with some of that and some of that estate planning. One of the other things that we are finding out is that now as our city ages, that people then tend to put their children or somebody else on their deed. Currently, right now, when you change your deed, you actually uncap your taxes. And so that is a big issue. I've gotten so many calls this year. My taxes have tripled. Why did my tax triple? Well, I put my daughter on my deed. That is changing your deed, and that then triggers your taxes to be uncapped. There is something that can stop that from happening, and that is the ladybird deed. And so a lot of people don't know about it, how to get it, what its benefits are, but that is one of those benefits that we think people should know about, just so that we are not taxing people or uncapping the people's, uncapping people's taxes just for adding their children on there. So there's a couple of seminars that are going to happen in the next couple of months, and we just wanted people to have that information. And so we just wanted everyone to have this information. And Bruce, my computer just said it needs to reboot, so we're going through the same thing, city computers. We're gonna get through it, and I'm gonna get it to stay on here. So we want to make sure that you get to these events, and if you have any questions, if you need some assistance prior to that, please give me a call, and I can see that I can get you to those people that are helping our residents now to save these kind of hardships, especially as you grow older. You don't need to have this kind of burden on you. So we want to make sure that we're giving that assistance. Just wanted to give that, other than the fact that, of course, your District 2 meeting is always the second Tuesday of the month. That meeting is in person and online coming August 13th. So it'll be at Northwest Activity Center as well as online, and every first Thursday of the month is your Blight Task Force meeting. So please attend. That one is actually online at 11 o'clock. So outside of that, I think I am done. Thank you, Bridget, for allowing me to give this announcement.
Thank you so much. Now we have Ms. Cooper, who's going to give us an update from the Councilwoman Calloway's office. You unmute yourself, please. Okay, go ahead.
Hi, good evening, San Bernardo. I am one of the assistant community relations managers for Councilwoman Calloway. So we just have a few quick updates for you. Miss Bridget, did you get our slides from Juwan? Okay,
yes.
Perfect. So the first thing that we want to talk about is the Palmer Park picnic that the council member hosts every year. This year it's going to be at Palmer Park on September 21st from 12 to 3. It's going to be a lot of resources there, different departments from the city and throughout the community. We're going to offer free food for our residents. So please show up, show out for the council member in your district. You can go to the next slide, please.
Kim? Okay.
I also want to talk about the walks in the park. So for the month of July, we are at Comstock Park, which is on James Cousins and Greenfield. It's right before you get to 8 Mile. So that is every Thursday. That's going to be for 1 hour from 8 to 9. It's a way to come out, mix and mingle with the residents. We do have a few seniors that come out because they like to get their walks in early. So they come out, we have good conversation and have a nice time. We have a few things. So August 3rd is pretty busy for the district as a whole. The first thing, the council members Human Trafficking Task Force is going to have their Stamping Out for Human Traffic event. That's going to be Saturday, August 3rd at Palmer Park again. And that's going to be from 11 to 3 a.m. or 3 a.m. 3 p.m. So you're more than welcome to come out for that and show support to our survivors and learn a little bit more about human trafficking. You can go to the next slide. Also on August 3rd is the Jazz on the Ave, and that's from 11 to 3. Starts at the same time, but there is enough time for residents to go to both events. And then lastly, for our September Coffee and Conversation is going to be at the Human IT and Naturalish building. That is on the corner of 7 Mile and Livernois. And I believe that is all that's going on for us. Yes.
Okay, well, thank you so much, and I will see you again next month. You come. Just to let you know, we have updates from Councilwoman Calloway's office every month, and we thank you, Robin, for coming and helping us out with this information. So we hope to see you next month as well.
I'll be here.
Okay, the next person will be Carol Weaver. Carol Weaver, are you here? Can you unmute yourself, Carol?
Yes, I am.
Okay, hi, Carol.
Hello, everyone. How are you? Okay, I'm going to be brief. So there's no school during the summer, but we have summer in the D. That's what we're calling our summer school. So we have academics in the morning, and we have enrichment in the afternoon, and that's from 8 to 4. And so what we're focusing on this summertime is getting our enrollment up. We have some exciting new programs. We have specialty schools, we have great neighborhood schools, we have application schools and examination schools. We this year will be offering pre-K, universal pre-K all day for our 4-year-olds. And we also have breakfast and lunch for all of our students, breakfast and lunch. Let's see what else is going on. If you would like information, Meet Up and Eat Up. So we are feeding students. So not everyone is going to summer school or summer in the D. So we do have Eat Up and Meet Up locations, and you can find all of our information about enrollment, about Meet Up and Eat Up, about all of our schools on our website at DetroitK12.org. That's DetroitK12.org. And I just like to give people my number. I used to be the District 2 liaison, and I still come to some District 2 meetings. So if you'd like more information and like to reach out to me, my number is 313-459-6208. Again, 313-459-6208. Oh, one last update, very important. DPSCD is starting pre-Labor Day. So our first day of school is Monday, August 26th, not after Labor Day, Monday, August 26th. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Carol. We appreciate you every month you come. So you mentioned before that you was going to be, someone else was going to do the updates for you, but I'm glad to see that you're still doing it. So, okay. I don't want to say nothing negative, but I know you got to move on, but I'm glad you're still here. Okay.
Yes.
So thank you very much. Our last update will be for Mr. Wellborn. Are you still here, Bill? Can you unmute yourself?
He's still on here.
Mr. Welburn. Okay, well, you can, I don't know if you could, let me
I can't
see.
unmute him. I can ask him to unmute, but he has to unmute himself.
Okay. He's not a picture. Maybe he's just here listening today. So, Mr. Wellbone, if you had any comments, then just let me know. Just text me and let me know what they are, and I'll be glad to include them in what you miss email blast. So, with that in mind, Mr. Williams is not here. So, that in mind, we go to the last slide. Okay, I'm gonna remind everybody, we want to thank everybody for joining us. We did lose a few people, but like I mentioned before, we hope to have a video copy of this meeting that we'll include in your What You Missed email blast, which will include the video, hopefully, of the different churches and businesses and organizations that participated in our recognition. Just remind everybody that San Bernardo Park boundaries are the streets east of Greenfield Road to Stratmore between West 7 Mile and Northwest James Cousins. We can find us on Facebook by just going at San Bernardo Park Association, all one word, on Instagram, doing the same thing, at San Bernardo Park Association. Also, you can contact us at our email hotline number, which is 313-437-1062, or you can always email us at sbpa_blockclub@yahoo.com. Our next meeting, we're not going to have a meeting in August. We're taking a little meeting break, but we will be having other types of activities throughout the rest of this year, because we do plan to partner with several organizations and bring more stuff to people, aware to people that they can participate in if they like. But we will resume our community meeting on September the 20th, which is Friday, September 20th. That will be in person at Overcomers Church, which is located on the corner of Wickham and James Cousin Freeway. So again, no meeting for August. We will come back in September with an in-person meeting, and then finally, October will be our last meeting for the entire year. So I want to thank everyone for coming to tonight's meeting. It was thank our guest speakers, thank the District 2 office for hosting the meeting, and we will see everybody in September.
Ooh,
Okay?
and thank God my computer didn't reboot. Gave me a few minutes.
Okay. So
Kim,
thank
I
you,
sent you a
everyone.
text.
Okay.
Madam
I'm praying on this
Bridget,
one.
can you hear
Yes.
me?
Yes.
I
Oh,
finally got through.
oh, this is Mr. Welber. Okay, let's back up a little bit. That's what happened with the live. Mr. Welber, you have an announcement that you want to make, and then we'll leave the meeting.
Yeah, I just want to one thing. Yesterday I had a meeting with the Wayne County Commission about county roads. Everybody wants to know which ones are county roads, and mainly I was concerned about Outer Drive. The people that cut the grass has been doing a horrible job. They cut the grass down there and all the trash down there. They cut the grass and cut up all the trash and empty liquor bottles all over the place. Once they cut the grass, it breaks them all up. That was my main concern. Plus another part about Schaefer to the large freeway. Kim knows a lot about that. That came up. But they promised me that from now on, they're going to make sure before they cut any grass on any county road, they're going to pick up all the paper, all the trash, and then after they cut the grass, they go back over it again. So that's the main thing I was just worried about. So if anybody have any problem with county roads, tell them to give me a call, 313-204-2477. And we'll cut mine short. Huh? Pardon?
Okay, I was going to say thank you very much, Mr. Welburn. We appreciate
Okay.
you again. Mr. Welburn works for Wayne County Commissioner for District 5, Irma Coleman, and she comes to our meetings every month to give us updates from her office. So thank you very much. Now we are officially closing the meeting at 7:21. I want to thank everyone for coming, and we look forward to seeing you at our next meeting, which is going to be September 20th It's going to be in person at Overcomers Church. So thank you very much. If you have any questions, just reach out to me and I'll be glad to recap the information you heard today or help you find out what's going on in our neighborhood. So thank you very much, everyone.